Guru Nation, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, it's theclinicaltrialsguru.com. So today's video, we actually did a 20-minute podcast on this. So go to iTunes, go to Stitcher, Random Musings from the Clinical Trials Guru, and you can hear the full 20-minute talk Chris Sauber, my business partner, and myself had on this topic. So we've gotten this question from a lot of our new clients. They're new to opening research sites, and they want to know the process for what happens prior to getting your first study. So we've done a video, what happens, how to handle your first study, but this is the process which leads up to you getting your first study. So first of all, you need a prospect to find studies for your PI. This is assuming you already have a PI. If you don't have a PI, then you need a PI. Quite honestly, you don't have a site yet until you have a PI. This assumes you have a PI. The first process is getting a study. And how do you get the study? You have to reach out to drug companies, or they reach out to you, which is very unlikely when you're brand new. So you will have to go on the offense and reach out to them. So that's number one. Reach out to sponsors. Now you'll send them an email pitch or a phone call, or you meet them in person. I don't care how you do it. You want to get in their database so that they can send you a CDA or an NDA, which is the same thing, for when they're getting ready to do site selections. CDA, NDA. Now, make sure you check your emails for this, because I've heard people, we've known people who have who don't check their emails, and they had CDAs, which is money. I mean, those are studies you're probably going to get. They had CDAs sitting in their inbox, and they're not checking their emails, so they're not getting the CDAs back to the sponsor, which, by the way, you need to do within 1 or 2 business days. You will need to sign the CDA. It doesn't have to be your PI. It could be you. Sign it, authorized representative of the site, send it back to the sponsor. Okay? When they get your CDA, they will send you a feasibility survey. Now, these feasibility surveys, we do them for our clients. We do them for our own sites. We know what to put on there. In the case of our clients, we'll talk to our clients and we'll find out what their patient database looks like, what their expertise is. We'll fill it out for you, but you got to pay attention, especially if you're doing it yourself and it's the first feasibility you're doing. You really got to pay attention, go through it, don't just fill it out quickly. Pay attention to it. If you're in doubt, give me or Chris a call, 949-415-6256, because what you put on here, first of all, sites exaggerate their numbers all the time, so you kind of almost have to do that. We can talk about that. We've actually had an in-depth podcast on this episode as well, why sites feel the need to embellish their numbers, and the short answer of it all is because everyone else does. So you're penalized if you actually tell the truth. So pay close attention to your feasibility, spend time on it. Once they get your feasibility survey back, which you should do within 1 to 3 business days, 1 to 3 days for your feasibility, then if they like what they see, they're going to schedule a site selection visit, either by phone or in person. Now, this is called a site selection visit or a pre-study site selection visit. SSV, PSSV, they could either be in phone, which more and more is the case now, where they're increasingly doing these over the phone, or they'll do it in person, or both. But the point is, they're going to schedule a call or a meeting. The monitor is going to want to speak to the site staff, the coordinator, the principal investigator for about 20 minutes, and then the site staff for the rest of the site selection visit, which typically takes anywhere from 1 to 3 hours, 1 to 4 hours. And that includes a site tour if they're doing it in person. That includes a description of your process of consent. That includes looking at your calibration logs or asking you about your calibration logs. That includes confirming that the answers from your feasibility survey are still correct and are still accurate. And they will ask the PI those numbers. And if your PI is not on the same page as you, there could be a discrepancy, and then they're going to ask you, why did you put X amount of patients on the feasibility survey when the PI is saying this is the number of patients that we're going to enroll. So make sure you guys are on the same page, the PI and the site owner. After the SSV, you should get a follow-up letter. And then shortly after, and again, every study is different, so depending on where they are in the process of site selection, anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 months after, you'll get a notification of whether your site was selected or not for the study. I would be, if I were you, and this is what I do for my sites, I follow up with them every 2 weeks. So when I don't get that letter, I call every 2 weeks. I call the CRA. Where do we stand? What's the decision? Are we getting the study? You'll at least know quicker so that you can know whether you can move on from this study, go get another study, or whether you're going to get the study. And then after you've been selected, they will schedule a site initiation visit. Site initiation visit. So in between the SSV and the SIV, you get selected for the study or you don't. If you do, they're going to send you the contract and budget, their startup regulatory package. So I should add that here. So if you're assuming your site's been selected, they're going to send you the contract and budget, which my consulting company can negotiate on your behalf, and the startup regulatory docs like the 1572, the financial disclosure forms, the IRB questionnaires, all that stuff. You got to complete those, and then for the site initiation visit, you should have IRB approval from the IRB paperwork you submitted to your IRB when you got the startup regulatory, and they'll come out to your site, do a site initiation visit. They'll make sure you have everything in place. They'll make sure you have the drug at your site. They'll make sure that you have all the equipment you're going to need, all the lab kits. Everybody is on the delegation log. Everyone's been trained on the protocol, and then you can start screening. So that's, in a nutshell, what happens prior to getting your first study and after you've gotten your first study. So thank you everyone for watching. Dan from theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.